Hey guys, it's Ashley and happy almost New Year. Honestly, I feel like just yesterday I was standing in front of this camera with my black sweater on talking about my New Year's resolutions and my reading resolutions, and I'm back again, completely different but still the same, sort of, doing the same exact thing. Time has flown by this year, like it's not even funny, but I am so excited to be standing here in front of the camera talking about all of the wonderful things that I've accomplished this year that I honestly didn't think that I would be able to, and my resolutions for the next year. First off, before we get into this, I do want to just give a huge thank you to every single one of you guys who has stuck with me through thick and thin this year. I know early on in the year I was killing the game, and later toward the end of the year I kind of dropped off the face of the earth. I know that I haven't grown very much since the end of the year, and obviously that has never been my #1 priority out of this thing. It's just to have fun and to meet new people, no matter how many followers or how big of a following that I get. But for those of you who have stuck by me, thank you so much. It means the world to me, and I really truly appreciate every single one of you and your sweet comments and everything that you do to support me, so thank you. So I want to go ahead and talk about some of the things that I've done this year. Early on in the year, I honestly didn't think that I was going to be able to do half the things that I did. So the first thing that I wanted to say that I did, this year was a year of firsts for me. It was my first time on a plane. It was my first time in New York or in another state to begin with. It was crazy. I went to BookCon earlier this year. It was my first BookCon. It was my first time meeting people who I'd only ever spoken to on the internet. It was an amazing experience. It was my first time meeting authors like Victoria Schwab, my first time meeting Cassandra Clare. It was just so exciting and fun, and New York was great. I saw Dear Evan Hansen, which was absolutely incredible, especially before Ben Platt left. I loved it. It's one of my favorite musicals. Later that year, I also went to Booknet Fest and saw many of the same people. We went to Harry Potter World. I even met newer people that I had been watching on YouTube for years now. It was just a crazy year. This year, I also got promoted in my workplace, which was incredible and such a great experience and opportunity. Personally, I feel like I've grown throughout this entire year. I've become a lot more personable, in my opinion. I don't know about my family will probably still say that I'm a stuck-up you-know-what who doesn't like talking to people. But I personally think that I've gotten a lot more outgoing with my, experience in retail and talking to people and putting myself out here this entire year again. So, I don't know. I feel like I've grown a lot as a person this year, but I mean, that's up to interpretation, I guess, to different people, right? In terms of reading, I read a lot more books than I did last year. Last year, I think I ended with 30. This year, at this point in time that I'm filming this, I think I've read 36, which is still better than last year, so I'm treating it as an accomplishment, though one of my resolutions this year is to not have a goal for reading, so I don't know if I really count that, but I'm gonna count it anyways. I also branched out a lot in my reading. I read a couple of new contemporary books, which I really enjoyed. I found a couple new favorites. I read my favorite series of all time this year, A Darker Shade of Magic, and it was incredible, and I found my brand new favorite author, Victoria Schwab. Her work. And the best of all is that I got to meet so many of you guys who have been watching my videos for how many, 1.5 years now? Almost 2 years. This is incredible. When I was at BookCon, I got so many people coming up and asking to take pictures with me and to say hi and that they love my videos. I got people at Booknet Fest doing the same thing. It just honestly blows my mind every single time when I go to these things how much people actually watch my videos. I'm putting this up here and I'm responding to comments, but it's never really sinking in that people are sitting here watching me speak. Like, I'm doing the work to film this and edit it and put it up, but it's never really fully sunk in that people are sitting at a computer watching me. It's just a weird thing to think about, and when you guys come up and say that you love what I'm doing, it really means the world to me, and that was honestly the highlight of my year, was just meeting you guys for the first time. I know that as I go to more of these events, I'm going to meet more and more people, and I truly appreciate anything that you say. If you come up to me at all, if you're too scared to, please don't be. Just come up and say hi, because I really, really love you guys so much. Okay, enough of the sappy stuff. I'm done with the sappy stuff. We're gonna get into my resolutions for this next year and things that I want to start doing, things that I want to put into my life, and I'm super excited to talk about them. Last year, I had a couple of resolutions. I think I wanted to read at least 2 books every month, which I didn't technically accomplish. I only read 1 book in November, but still, for 10 out of the 12 months, that's a pretty good accomplishment for me. I know I also said that I wanted to read more diverse books, which I feel like I did at least. I don't know if I really ventured off that far or if I stuck a little bit more in my genre. I did read a few, so I'm proud of that at least. And I think the last resolution that I wanted to get to this past year was to reread The Mortal Instruments. And as you guys know, I did start a read-along for The Mortal Instruments. Once a month we were gonna read one of the books, and we kind of stopped after City of Fallen Angels. I'm not really sure why. Honestly, for me, I just DNF'd City of Fallen Angels. It's my least favorite book in the series, and rereading it, knowing everything that was gonna happen, I just couldn't bring myself to push through it, and so I just had to stop rereading it. Of course, I read it the first time, but I had to stop rereading it, and I kind of regret that, but at the same time, you know, I read books that I wanted to read, and that's all that matters to me. I do plan on rereading Mortal Instruments in its entirety at some point, but I just don't know when. So now on to my 2018 resolutions and what I plan to accomplish in the coming year. I am so excited for this year. I have so many things planned, and let me share them with you now. So my first resolution that I'm planning to do in 2018 is to not set a reading goal for myself. The past 2 years I've set a goal of around 30 to 45 books, and I've gotten really close to accomplishing those. I feel like my first year I did do that, and this year I definitely did not do that. But you know, I'm not going to get down on myself for that, and I'm planning on not setting a goal next year. As long as I'm reading what I want to read, I'm going to have accomplished what I want. And as a kind of spin off to that, I'm only going to read what I want when I want. Obviously with school books this is not going to happen, but when it comes to reading for pleasure, I am only going to read books that I'm interested in at the moment, which I mean sounds like a no-brainer to some of you, but I feel like sometimes I'm reaching for books that are so popular that I feel like I need to read them, but I'm really not in the mood for reading them. I kind of want to stop that. I want to read what I'm interested in the moment. If I'm interested in reading a high fantasy, I'm gonna pick that up. If I'm interested in reading a contemporary, I'm gonna pick that up. I'm not going to force myself to read something that I don't want to read just because it's circulating BookTube and it's popular. I want to be able to enjoy what I'm reading, and to do that, I want to follow what I'm feeling, and so that's what I'm planning on doing. I'm also going to be doing something that I have really come to realize I wanted to do in the middle of this year, but I didn't because I wanted to stick through with what I had been doing previously, and that is wrap-ups. Monthly wrap-ups for me, I always put them up at the wrong times. I can never remember to do them nor edit them at the right time and have them upload right at the beginning of the month, and I know you guys don't mind, but to me, I'd just prefer to stop doing wrap-ups next year and instead just make currently reading videos where I can talk about what I'm reading and also what's going on in my life and what else I'm doing, you know, what I'm into. Kind of like a mix of a favorites video and a wrap-up, but kind of what's happening in that moment. You know what I mean? I just haven't been a really big fan of wrap-ups recently, and I want to see how this goes, and if I don't like it, then I'll change back to wrap-ups, but for the time being, we're just gonna try it out and see what happens. Something else that I want to try to do is vlogging. So I see a lot of booktubers recently who have gotten into vlogging, and honestly, I love watching vlogs, and I know that you guys do too. It's kind of like your own way to see into that person's life, because normally all you're seeing is me standing in front of this camera all dolled up talking about books in front of my bookshelf, but I don't think you guys have ever seen my entire room, my house, my family, my life in general, so I really want to try to start vlogging this year, whether that's weekly vlogs, reading vlogs, any kind of vlog, something like that. I want to start vlogging. So I have 2 more that I want to share with you guys. The first one is that I want to post more photos to Instagram. Obviously, you know, I think I said that last year and I tried to as best I could, but there were still times where I went weeks without posting photos, and I don't want to do that. I want to be able to have a nice Instagram where you guys can keep up with me and talk to me, and you know, I post cool photos, you know what I mean? And I want to be able to do that more often than I already do, so that is definitely a plan. And the last thing that I wanted to talk about, my last resolution, is one that I'm really excited about, and that is I want to start a traveling book. So if you don't know what a traveling book is, basically, from what I've gathered, you take a book and you read it and you write notes in it and then you send it to somebody else and then they'll read it and they'll write their notes in it and then they'll send it to somebody else and then they read it and then it keeps going and then eventually it gets back to the original person, and the original person, in this point, me, would be able to go through the book and read it and see what everybody was thinking in that moment. I think it's just a really cool way to connect with people who you don't normally see because you live so far away from them, and especially because we're all into books here. Okay, so I really want to take A Darker Shade of Magic, obviously, and I want to be able to send it to different people and, you know, be able to get it back and see all of these little notes and thoughts that people have written in the book and what they've been experiencing when they've read the same things that I have. I don't know, I've always wanted to have a traveling book. I've always wanted to do it, so I really want to try to do it this year. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, I don't know who I'm sending it to, but if you were at all interested in hearing more about this, let me know down below. Let me know if it sounds cool, something that you'd want to see / possibly participate in. I might hold like a giveaway as to like who would get it. I don't know how this is gonna work. We're gonna find out. Also, if you've ever done a traveling book before, I'd love some advice on it, on like how you did it. So if you could let me know that down below as well. Obviously, I'll do some like research in Google about it, but I want to know like firsthand experience. If you liked it, if you didn't, what happened? Did you ever get the book back? That's what I'm really afraid of, me sending the book and then never getting it back, so let me know. And so that is everything for my yearly wrap-up resolution video. Let me know down below if you guys have any resolutions that you're planning to implement in your lives next year. I'm really excited for the new year. I feel like this year has been crazy. It's been really jam-packed, busy, but at the same time it's been fun. A lot of bad stuff has happened, like a lot of bad stuff. But personally, like I said, I feel like I've grown as a person and I'm really happy with the things that I've accomplished. And I'm just hoping that the next year is even better. So that is going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching and have a happy new year. Goodbye!